And thank you all for sharing your experiences and knowledge today. We know there's close to 100,000 children in Ireland are in consistent poverty, with another 200,000 at risk. And we know that this year organisations like St Vincent de Paul have seen really worrying increases in calls for help. So your submissions and experiences are essential into helping the committee understand and advocate for change. And I suppose in relation to what Lynn was saying, I don't think we can really have a discussion about, reaching equality, be it gender equality or for children in one-parent families, without really having a massive conversation about childcare in this country. So my first question is for the National One-Parent Family Alliance. You were calling for investment in public early years care and education with free childcare for children in one-parent families. We know the state spends currently 0.3% of GDP on early years, which is so far below the European average of 0.8%. and the UNICEF recommended benchmark of 1%. I just wonder, could you elaborate for everybody and for the committee on the importance of a publicly funded model for childcare for one-parent families? And I suppose then similar is the social protection system, so the practice of social welfare rates being solely dependent on the decision of a government at each budget, kind of a way that we see every year, is not only kind of ignorant of the reality of life for so many thousands of people in Ireland, but it's also very paternalistic. You highlight the importance kind of a social protection system that's based on evidence and benchmarked against the minimum essential standard of living. So if you could explain a bit more about that, please, as well, that'd be great. That's for the one-parent family. And Chair, if there's time, I have a question for the Rialto Youth Project afterwards, but I'll leave it at that in case there isn't time at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy. Do you want to actually put that question now and I can take the two of them together?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
This time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, for the Rialto Youth Project, thanks for your statement. I think it highlights both the barriers faced by young people in marginalised communities, but also people's capacity to thrive when supported properly. So I wanted to ask a bit about the kind of practical support you offer, like homework clubs that help young people develop learning skills, and also just provides oftentimes a space to do homework, a luxury a lot of people don't have at home. I wonder if you could discuss the impact of those kind of projects and how the state could better support them. And then the arts-based education programmes feature prominently in your work as well, as tools to explore and address issues that affect younger people. I just wonder if you could talk a bit about and give examples of arts-based projects and the impact that it's had on the people that you're working with. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Deputy. So we'll go to, is it Dr. Keelty is going to come in on this question?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
And thank you, Deputy Kearns, for your questions. Firstly, in relation to the social protection system and how we can ensure that it's based on evidence, so as the National One-Parent Family Alliance are advocating that it's benchmarked against the minimum essential standard of living. We know this is what is required to meet a decent standard of living in Irish society, one that allows people to live with dignity and to meet their cost of living. So it's based on the research from the Vincentian Partnership for Social Justice, which is a focus group, consensus-based research, which estimates what the basket of goods needed in Ireland today to both meet your basic needs and also to participate in society. So we see this as the most effective way to ensure that our social protection system is addressing poverty and is ensuring a life with dignity. So from our point of view, the current gap between core social welfare rates for a lone parent with 2 children and the cost of an MESL is €82 every week. So to bridge that gap, we would need to see that progressively realised over a number of budgets. Ideally, this would be set out in advance where people could plan. They would be able to live with certainty then when they know if you're on a fixed income, what your income will be for the following year, that people are able to meet the cost of living, which is obviously a crisis point at the moment for many, many families, particularly those parenting alone who are trying to make all the different pressure points on family budgets, particularly at Christmas time and winter when energy prices are so high. So it's about ensuring that the system is effective. It is allowing people to meet their costs and also addressing poverty. In relation to childcare, again, the National One Parent Family Alliance supports the public provision of childcare, and we also support the provisions under the EU Child Guarantee that will ensure free access to childcare for children in one-parent families. We know from evidence from across the world, and particularly in Nordic countries, that the provision of publicly funded subsidised childcare is one of the most effective ways of making work pay for lone parents, and also ensuring that it's of high quality so that children are getting the best start in life. So again, we welcome the expert group's report, and we hope that this can be actioned on, that we're ensuring that we're investing significantly in our childcare system so that parents can access employment, can access education, and that families can move out of poverty for good. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ms McKenna.
Thank you. Thanks, Holly. So I suppose for us, so we are based here in Rialto. We work with over 300 young people from ages 5 to 25, as we were saying. And I suppose investment for us looks like everything from the investment into the practice and the work and the strategies, but also into where we work. Right now I'm sitting here in the middle of a porta cabin that's about to fall down around us, that was built in 2008 and was told that it would be a 5-year plan. And we haven't been part of the conversation of regeneration. And when we spoke with the state around facilities and the need for community facilities, because we are based in the heart of this community, we were asked, could we go to somewhere else? Could we work in a local school? Could we find a temporary building? And we're like, no, we need to be in the heart, as Gillian spoke, relationship building with communities. Workers have been here through decades of work, where actually people who live in the community have grown up in the project, who work here now in the project. The majority of people who work in Rialto are from the area, or from areas like Rialto. So they really understand the needs of the community. So we're sitting here in a porta cabin with a leaking roof, with lights that often don't work, and very little access for more than 100 children every day. You know, so that's the kind of resources we need. So it's everything from, like, put it into the resources for the building, for the safe spaces, for the space where children sit and do homework every day, where they come and they have their youth space, where they do their crisis work, their one-to-one support with their youth worker, their developmental processes, and as you've mentioned as well, the arts processes, which is one of the fundamental pieces that we really believe in here in Rialto, because we believe in that critical social education is a real way of radical change. And it's not just about giving young people the space where they can explore arts, say for play, which we believe in, experience, a vocation as well, which is really important, but also a platform to have their voices heard and their stories heard. But the bigger question for us is, who is listening? So when we often work with local artists in collaboration and look at what are the platforms that we can support young people and communities, because it's an intergenerational issue and an inequality that we work with. So we often don't only work with young people on these projects, we work with an entire community. And it is about putting it out there in the public, because who is listening? Who is listening to the voices of young people? So all these policies and all these strategies are really great, but how many young people and families from working class areas are at the table making the policies? And many of them are involved in the strategies that support their lives and the lives that they need to live to thrive. And that for us is very often what arts brings. You know, and at the moment, one of the projects that we're doing in conjunction with Fiona Whelan again and Broken Talkers is called What Does He Need? And it is about looking at intergenerational masculinity, particularly with a lens of working class communities. And that idea of how are young men and men shaped by, but also influence the world they live in. Taking a needs-based approach to really look at that under a critical social arts-based practice lens. So we really believe in the work we do here, and you know, we believe in the investment of this work. We believe in community and community projects, and that's where we think that resources need to go.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I don't see any other hands up, so I'm going to move on then to Deputy Alan Dillon.